In the late 1990s, American skies were not friendly. Big airlines controlled the market, prices were high, service was poor, and delays were common. Passengers had no choice but to accept it. People often joked that flying in America was like punishment. So when a rumor started spreading in New York about a new airline that promised low fares but also comfort, it sounded too good to be true. Could anyone really break into an industry so dominated by giants like American Airlines, Delta, and United? Well, one man believed it could be done. His name was David Neeleman. He was a risk-taker, an immigrant, and a visionary. He'd already worked in airlines before, and he knew the flaws. He was convinced that if you respected passengers, gave them value, and treated them like humans, you could change flying forever. In New York City, his dream began to take shape. Investors doubted him, competitors laughed at him, but Neeleman refused to give up. He had one mission: build an airline that would shock America. That airline would soon be called JetBlue. The question was, could this new player really survive in America's toughest industry? Or would it be crushed before its first flight? This is the story of JetBlue. In 1999, JetBlue was launched in New York City with big plans. It would be the city's new airline, offering cheap tickets and a comfortable ride. Other airlines laughed, but JetBlue's first flights were packed. People loved it. The New York Times wrote, "JetBlue, the airline that feels too good to be true." Other airlines were in trouble. American Airlines tried to drop fares to kill JetBlue. Delta expanded flights to New York to push back. But JetBlue was quick. It opened new routes to Florida, California, and Boston. Families loved the low prices. Business travelers loved the comfort. But behind the growth, trouble was brewing. No airline could rise so fast without facing storms. And soon, the darkest storm in American aviation history was about to strike. What? Stay tuned to find out. On September 11th, 2001, America changed forever. Terrorist attacks struck New York and Washington, and the entire airline industry collapsed overnight. Fear filled the skies. Airlines cut jobs, flights were canceled, and passengers refused to fly. Even the biggest airlines were bleeding money. For JetBlue, survival looked almost impossible. It was a young airline with limited cash and a brand new business model. Experts said it would die within weeks. But something unexpected happened. Passengers who dared to fly chose JetBlue. They trusted it more than United or US Airways. While giants like these lost billions, JetBlue managed to hold its ground. The company made bold moves. It opened new routes when others were shrinking. It doubled down on service when others were cutting. It gave America hope in a time of fear. JetBlue became a symbol of resilience, a young fighter standing tall while giants stumbled. But survival came with scars. Every flight was a gamble. Every expansion was a risk. And as the years moved forward, new challenges appeared. Rising fuel prices, tougher competition, and angry rivals who wanted JetBlue gone. The storm of 9/11s had tested JetBlue's spirit, but bigger storms were still ahead. By the mid-2000s, JetBlue had become a household name. From New York to Los Angeles, from Boston to Florida, Americans were choosing JetBlue. The airline had captured the imagination of the nation, but success made it a target. Delta, United, and American Airlines all wanted JetBlue crushed. They used every weapon: lower fares, aggressive advertising, and even political influence. At airports across the U.S., competition turned into open war. Sometimes JetBlue won, sometimes it lost. But every fight left scars. Then came the Valentine's Day disaster of 2007. A brutal ice storm froze New York. JetBlue planes were stuck on the ground for hours. Passengers were trapped inside aircraft. Anger exploded. News channels mocked JetBlue as a frozen dream. Trust was broken. Many said the airline would never recover. But JetBlue refused to quit. Leadership apologized openly. The company rebuilt its policies. It promised never to repeat the mistakes. Slowly, trust returned. Passengers forgave. Competitors were shocked. Once again, JetBlue had survived what should have been the end. By now, the story was clear. JetBlue was not just fighting airlines, it was fighting history itself. And history was not easy to win. Years passed and JetBlue kept expanding. It reached the West Coast, the Caribbean, and even started preparing for flights to Europe, all the while staying true to its roots: fair prices, good service, and comfort for everyone. Passengers saw JetBlue as different, as a breath of fresh air in a world of greedy corporations. In a way, JetBlue forced big airlines like United and Delta to improve their game. Suddenly, they had to upgrade their cabins, add entertainment, and lower their fares. But most importantly, JetBlue showed passengers that flying could be fun again. People who had stopped traveling because of the pandemic started booking trips again. Families who had put off vacations started planning for them. But JetBlue's journey is not without danger. The airline industry is a brutal one. Fuel costs, economic crashes, and powerful rivals are always lurking. JetBlue may face more storms in the future, but one thing is clear: it has already left its mark on America. From a dream in New York to a nationwide revolution, JetBlue proved that even the biggest industries can be changed by one small idea. The relentless pursuit of excellence and the courage to challenge the status quo. This is not just the story of an airline. This is the story of how one small idea can change everything.